Okay, so today we're going to make an omelette au fromage my way, which doesn't use gruyere cheese, but fontana cheese. So for our ingredients, or what we're going to need here, 3 eggs, salt, butter, heavy cream, shredded fontana cheese, which I shredded a couple minutes ago, a sifter, sieve, or strainer, whatever you want to call it, mixing bowl, and whatever the hell this thing is called, a whisk. Okay, so first we're going to start off by cracking 3 eggs into this bowl. And these are a little larger than normal sized eggs. And I should have had a paper towel with me, but now I got one to clean myself off. It's good to keep your fingers clean. So then you get your 3 eggs in here. You're going to start whisking them. And you're going to want to whisk them until they're kind of fluffy. So for a couple minutes. Okay, now that our eggs are whisked and they're kind of fluffy, what we're going to do is we're going to add about a tablespoon of heavy cream, or half and half works as well, heavy whipping cream, because I've been doing this for a little bit, so that's about a tablespoon. And then we're going to continue to whisk it up, and it's going to turn this nice light yellow color, and we're going to whisk for a little bit, not too long, enough to incorporate it. Alright, that should be good enough. Now you get this runny, very watery sort of mixture here. Next, what we're going to do is get another bowl and sieve it into the other bowl. Okay, so the goal here is to use the sieve to get out all of the membrane in the egg that does not incorporate well, and it leaves chunks. It doesn't end up with a nice creamy texture. So you just pour it through. It's good enough. And you can see over here, this stuff that I'm talking about, this stuff does not mix. This is the membrane from the egg, and that's going to make it clumpy and your omelet can fall apart. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, after we've transferred it to this other bowl, we're going to grab a little bit of pepper, just a dash of pepper in there. A couple, actually, because this thing isn't working too well. To taste, I guess, but also a little salt, a little pinch of salt. This is pink Himalayan salt. Not too much salt. Cheese is very salty, the cheese I'm using. And then mix it up again a little bit. Wonderful. Now we're going to take about a half a tablespoon of butter. Maybe a little more. I think that's about a half a tablespoon of butter. And we're going to take this and we're going to add it to our pan. And then turn on the heat on medium to low and let this butter melt. And then we'll come back and add the eggs in a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to make sure that the butter is evenly coating the pan so nothing really sticks. So you kind of just want to twirl it around. Look at all that delicious butter. Alright, now we're going to grab our eggs. Give them one quick little whisk before we toss them in, just to make sure. And now we're going to pour it in slowly. It's going to cover the whole pan. And we have a little nice silicone spatula here. This is one of my favorite cooking tools. And now we're going to let it sit for a little bit. And we have chopsticks here to kind of stir it up to create some curding. So all that really does is while you stir it, you get nice curds. And it becomes very chunky, but in a good way. And the stove that I'm using isn't too good of a stove, so there's no like full low setting. It's kind of just high and medium. So you're just going to want to keep moving this, and you can actually kind of see some curds forming there. Take it off the heat a little bit because we don't want it to get too cooked too fast. it's going to be an on-off process. Even if you have a very low setting on your stove, it's going to be an on-off process because these eggs are very thin and watery, so they cook very easily. Use my nice spatula here to get the egg off the edge. And on and off. You see how it kind of clumps up and then you pull it off the bottom with the chopsticks? That's what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to keep it chunky but runny at the same time. So we're gonna apply heat to only part of it. You know, we're gonna get an even curd going on here, which will be really nice. Again, I wish the stove was a little better, but it is what it is. It's not necessarily the appliance, it's mostly the chef. If they're good enough, you can come up with solutions to many problems in the kitchen. Alright, so now that it's decently chunky, you can see all these curds and chunks. Now what we're going to do is we're going to let it rest on the heat for a little bit so it crusts up. And again, get the silicone spatula to keep it off the edges. Just go all the way around like that. Pull it on and off because it's going to cook very fast. You can kind of see what's cooked and what's staying and what's not. And now for this part, you're going to want to turn up the heat a little bit so it's a lot hotter so that you get a really nice crust on the outside really quick. Sometimes you have to pour the egg around the edge of the pan, you know, so it cooks evenly like that. So that way you don't have too much runniness left. And you're noticing now, you can kind of notice how it's starting to form on the bottom. It's not fully formed yet. You're going to have to blast it a little more with the heat. And now that you kind of notice, see there's just a little bit of wateriness left, and you're going to keep doing the same thing. Take it off the heat and turn it and get all that wateriness around the edges so you have a nice, almost tortilla-like thing with your eggs going on. And now it's actually starting to come up a little bit, so that's good. Again, we're going to keep on and off with the heat. Turn the heat down quite a bit. And now we get our cheese ready. Keep it by the side over here ready, because this is starting to cook through pretty well. It's developing a decent crust. Just, oh, see, stuff like that can happen. It can tear very easily, so you got to be careful. On and off. Alright, so now we're going to take our cheese and we're going to spread it as much as possible evenly around. This is about a quarter of a cup of fontana. Make sure it's kind of even. It's going to be a little clumpy because this cheese, it would have ended up better if I would have frozen it and then shredded it, but I guess I didn't think to do that in the moment, so you're going to want to spread it out a little bit. It shreds better if you use a cheese grater on it when it's frozen. And now we're going to begin the arduous process of rolling. So that's going to be kind of difficult to do, but you can kind of get it if you really are very gentle with it. It's kind of hot too. Let me turn the flame off. I'm burning myself. You're going to want to go back and forth and continuously scrape to make sure that it's not sticking and you're not breaking it. You're going to want to go under it like a couple inches and then roll a little bit and keep going under, breaking it loose very gently. can already see the cheese melting. Oh, it looks so good. When you notice it starts sticking, just stop rolling so it doesn't get too, it doesn't tear. Oh, it's very hot. Be careful with that too. It's probably better to use 2 spatulas, but I don't have another one of these on hand. It's a long process, but you get a beautiful omelet when you're done. All right, now at this point, we're gonna grab our plate and we're going to come to the cutting board. Just to put it down there. We want it removed from the heat completely. Keep rolling it very slowly. Now at this point, make sure the edge is disconnected completely. And you're going to try to go under it completely to make sure that it's all the way undone from the pan. Then you're going to slowly roll it off the pan onto your plate. And if so desired, make it look nice. And if you're a fan of butter, like me, you can grab a little bit of butter and just kind of get it on there. Use your hands and kind of just get it all over. And now, a little bit of salt. And that is how you make an omelet au fromage. All right, now for the cross section to see how this turned out. Look at that, that's awesome. Now to try a bite. Oh my God, it just melts in your mouth. It's amazing, look at that. That cheese, the layering, look at that. That's all melted cheese. It's amazing. 10 out of 10, definitely try it at home. I hope you guys enjoyed. That's how I make an omelet au fromage.